Okay, great. So Erev Tov, everyone. I'm Doron, and great to see a good crowd here this evening at this excellent service that we're providing. And I want to thank Daniela and Michelle and Kobe for putting this together. And I'm sure we're going to learn a lot this evening. So we also have Michal Merton with us, who's the Telfed employment and life coach. Thank you for joining us, Michal. And it's really exciting to be here and to be able to hear directly from the IDF, from RAN, about what we're going to expect, what you're going to expect as parents of young kids going into the army. And as we approach Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, a new year, with its hopes, with its challenges. And certainly, I know as parents, myself having 5 kids, having gone through the army and national service. So we as parents have a lot to pray for on Yom Kippur, that everyone should be safe and well and go to the army safely and come back safely and keep Am Yisrael safe. So we have, as parents, we have a lot to pray for on Rosh Hashanah. And as the soldiers, well, I'm sure also that you're praying for a very, both a safe but also a meaningful service. And that's really our wish as well for the new year for all of you. I want to take this opportunity before Rosh Hashanah also to say that as a time that we take stock of the year past, is that there are actually quite a number of families that their kids are going to the army, and when it comes to weekends for their kids to come out of the army and come home, those kids are wondering, wait, if I go home, is there going to be a meal waiting for me? Or what am I going to find when I get home? Telfed supports 450 needy Olim every single month. And in some of those Olim are in families with army-going kids. So let each one of us think how thankful we should be as we start the Zoom tonight and we get all this information from Kobe and from RAN and from the IDF. Let us be thankful that our kids come home to a home where we're able to feed them and clothe them and house them, and they look forward to coming back to our home when they get a break from the army. And as we're thinking of that, let's think of those families where it's not the case and where they rely on Telfed for food cards to make sure that there's food on the table when that soldier comes home, that they rely on Telfed to help pay their rent because otherwise they'd be out on the streets and that soldier wouldn't have a home to come home to. So let's contemplate what we have and be thankful for that. And let's think of those that actually don't have that. And we thank Telfed for helping those families. So I'm asking Daniela if she could write in the chat the link to the Telfed website. We actually have a campaign on the 6th and 7th. It's this week, Wednesday and Thursday. We have our annual campaign where we're going to be raising at least 1.5 million shekels to help those who really need our assistance. And that's besides the Klita and the soldiers and the lone soldiers and the employment and the housing and the scholarships, right?
There it is, Doron.
It is. There's a lot of people out there that need our assistance. So I'm utilizing this wonderful platform to say, let's be thankful for what we have, and let's think how we can help others who don't have what we have. And please give generously to the Telfed campaign. You'll be getting also on the day a WhatsApp message, an email message. Please go into that link. Please utilize it, and we have generous donors who will match every shekel that you give. So every shekel becomes 2. So please utilize this opportunity before Rosh Hashanah to help the fellow members of our community who are less fortunate and who look. So
well done.
And I think Doron is out from the Zoom.
Okay.
You want to say a few words as well?
Yeah, sorry, Michelle, could you just post that link in the chat? I'm having a bit of technical difficulty for the Telfed campaign. Thank you. So in the meantime, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Daniela Shapira, the Aliyah Klita advisor at Telfed. Most of you know me, have been in touch with me at some point or another, and you're always welcome to keep in touch with any kind of question. I'm happy to hear from you or any updates in your life. Always welcome to reach out. I'm very happy to introduce Kobi, who is a naval commander with 16 years of experience in the Army and who's been guiding our Olim soldiers and families for the last year with his expertise and patience and understanding, and who's was responsible for this amazing presentation this evening. So, Kobi, over to you.
Hello, everyone. It's always difficult to speak after Doron and Daniela, but I'm really excited to start the event. A lot of people worked very hard to make this event happen. Doron, Daniela, Michelle, Nicole, Nava, thank you very much for the hard work, and I'm really, really sorry if I forget someone. I introduced myself in a few words. I'm in active service since 2006 in the Israeli Navy, married and father to 3 children. My last position was the CEO of INS Atzmaut. It's a SAR 6 class corvette. And now I want to introduce our speakers for tonight. Ehud is a close friend with a lot of experience in the Army, in a field of recruiting for the IDF. We later present the recruiting process and will be joined by Maya. She is a new officer in the Navy, and she had also a lot of experience. Ron, a good friend on me, he is going to replace me in the position next month. I want to wish Ron a lot of success in the position. I'm sure he will do it better than me. And the last speaker will be Andrea. And she is an outstanding fighter on missile ship INS Atzmaut. She is a newcomer from Colombia. Andrea will introduce us the service experience in Michve Alon course from her point of view. I want to say thank you for all the speakers who came to present us today. We all appreciate you very, very much. I think we are ready. Just something else before we start. If someone has any question, you can chat it, and one of the speakers will try to answer about all the questions in the end. Ehud, the stage is all yours. We can ready to start.
Thank you, Kobi. Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'm very excited to be here this evening. I think this is a great opportunity for us, for the Army, for the IDF that I represent today. But before I start, a few words. If something in my unstable English is not firmly understood, just ask the question in the chat, and I will try to repeat myself. My English is quite okay, but the excitement today maybe influence on the fluency of my speak. Maya will help me. Her English is much better than mine, but her accent is not so originally from Israel. She will tell you also about her personal experience in situation like this. I want to start by telling you that this presentation is very, very, very good and give you lots of information about the process that you're going to be in just a short period. In my behalf, the knowledge that you will get and the question that you will ask about the things that you would like to know will let you be in a position that you have less fears and let you begin the army with more confidence. So feel free to ask any questions about this presentation. Second of all, although I'm wearing the Navy uniform, I want you to think that I'm a representation of all of IDF, and ask a question about everything that you want, and not only particularly in the Navy. If there will be questions that I don't know how to answer you, we'll write them all, and you will get answers in a few days through Daniela and Kobe. As I understand, most of you today are in the 11th grade and 12th grade, and I would like to start by telling you about the process is very, very clear, and let everybody do the process on the best way that they can. First of all, when you be in the 11th grade, most of you will get what's called Tzav Rishon. Tzav Rishon, it's a process that invites you to Lishkat Giyus. Everybody gets there physically. Before you will get the Tzav Rishon, you will be asked to play as much of the information that you can give to the army before. You will do it online through one of your personal sites in Atar that called Atar Mitgaisim. You will give your addresses, your parents' name, your ID number, the address that you live, the school that you learn, and much more of your personal info that will give you to save time when you get to Lishkat Giyus. You don't need to waste time by filling forms manually. You will give it all in advance. When you go to, there is a slide that speaks about Tzav Rishon. If you could press on it, please. When you get to the Lishkat Giyus in the Tzav Rishon, this is particularly the first draft that you'll do in the army. You will do some stations. These stations allows the army to get along with you and to know who they are dealing with before they can pursue other situations. Although something like data verification, you will do medical checks through the army doctor. Some of the information that you will need to send before Tzav Rishon is the paperwork from your own doctor that will state on his rights about your physical history. He will know about if you did any surgeries before, if you have any medical conditions that the army must know before you will get into a position. You will do a personal interview. There will be a me'avchenet that will speak with you, and she would like to know all of your history in school, in public places, about your friends, about the house you grew in. This information is very, very personal, and it is saved on the army clouds. Also, you will do a test. This test is about to deal with your strengths and weaknesses, and about your knowledge and some of the cognitive abilities, which everyone with you have different ways. As you can see, the goal is to know you as much as better as they can before the army will give you other types of questions and gibushim of which one of you. This station is very, very accurate. There is only one chance that you can have the Tzav Rishon, and it's very important that you will arrive to this day when you're at your best. So you need to get there after you slept good, after you ate good, with water, to be very concentrate, and to show the army the very best of you on this day. If any reason some of you don't feel good, and if you want to change the date that the army called you to the Tzav Rishon, it's sorry, I had a call. It's very important that when you choose to go to this date, even if this is the date that the army called you or the date that you chose, it's very important that this date will show the army the very best of you can to do in this day. Other slide, please. About the medical profile. In this day, according to your personal doctor documentations and the physical exam that you will do, you will given medical profile. The medical profile is the indication of a certain number. It can be very high. At the highest rank is 97, and in the lowest rank is 21. And every one of this rank can be influenced according to your medical history. If you have, for example, an eye vision rank like I do, it will be chosen to be documented, and in some cases, it can affect your medical profile. It's very important you to notice that if you want to have tafkid kravi, the profile is up to 72 and up, 72, 82, or 97. This is the only profile that allows to be a kravi soldier. And in each one of those ranks, there are different types of jobs that you can get according to your medical history. The number is just a title. I can have Profil 97, and Kobi can have Profil 97, and every one of us can have a different medical history according to his personal history. We can have the same, but there are certain sub numbers that are affecting each one of the jobs that the soldiers are meant to be. If you have a low profile, example, if someone had a surgery that affects his well-being every day, or if he can't, he's unable to do certain things like handle a weapon, or like some allergies, or he's using some special equipment, taking regularly some medicine, it will probably affect his profile, and we'll get a low profile. In most cases, if you have a low profile, 64 or 45, and even less, it affects the ability of you to be in very in close bases that you can sleep regularly out of your regular homes, and it surely affects the ability to be a combat soldier. In my opinion, what's very important on this stage, that you must tell the truth about all your medical history, and in no certain way to try to hide problems or not telling all of your medical history. I've seen many cases that a person that will came to the Tzav Rishon tell their personal doctors, please, doctor, don't tell about this certain problem because I'm very motivated to be certain positions. And in later stages of the army, the medical problems just came up, and the army couldn't hide it. The nominee couldn't hide it anymore, and it will literally need to be in certain position that we must change the position during the army, and this is not recommended. Any questions until now? Feel free.
There are questions in the chat.
You have a question on the chat, but I suggest to do it in the end of the presentation.
Okay, we will continue. The next stage is Yom HaMe'ah. Before I will dive into the Yom HaMe'ah, I would like to say about the personal interview. The personal interview that all of the nominees will do in the Tzav Rishon. Some of the nominees are misguided by this interview, and they think that is not important. Exactly the opposite. The personal interview affects a lot about the positions that you can go in the army. Although you're seeing a nice soldier like you, a very young soldier, but they are very determined and they're very meyumanot. They're very skilled in interviews, and they can highly choose about the position that you could do in the future. It's based about some psychological theories and the background of the nominees and all of his history about the schools that he's been, about his family, about his social behavior is very affected through this interview. You should, I recommend you, it's not a must thing. You can exercise how you interview, just do it with a friend at home, maybe one of your parents, big brothers or something. You have also one shot at this interview. You need to concentrate and represent yourself in those serious things, not being sachbak with the interviewer. It's very important. All of these stages are the stages of the Tzav Rishon in the Lishkat Giyus. They are doing in one day, and they're doing physically the Lishkat Giyus. About Yom HaMe'ah. Until last year, Yom HaMe'ah was given only to females. 2 years ago, the army changed his positions, and he started to do Yom HaMe'ah, the evaluation day, also to men and not only to women. And Yom HaMe'ah, in my opinion, is the most valuable evaluation stage that the army can give to all of the nominees. The Yom HaMe'ah is a group of tests that you are doing from home, online, in your own personal computer. It is doing through one of mechonim. Maya, help me with the accurate word. This can. This place is a place that is very, very known for HR skills test. It's not only a personal evaluation, it's also a group challenge that you're doing with more nominees that you're giving in the same day. Yom HaMe'ah is a group of 12 tests that give you 12 different ranks. All of these ranks is between 1 and 5. and it will test you to know and to identify, as you can see in the presentation, all of the strengths and weaknesses of each person. The idea that everybody's good at something. There are many kinds of jobs in the army. There are jobs in the intelligence, jobs at the Navy, jobs at כל מיני the Air Force, and the idea is that the soldier is doing his test, and he will be given exams to find the things that he is better with them. All of the tests in this day will choose to mend how you can see in cognitive abilities, your personal skills, your motivation, your the determination, the technical skills, how you can put on a presentation, how is your abilities to speak through audience, and many more skills. Yom HaMe'ah will have a very important effect about the later kinds of miyunim that you will get at Kita Yud-Bet. Most of you will do Yom HaMe'ah at 11th grade. Some of you, according to your accurate age, will do it at 12th grade. But you can also change the exact date that Meitav will give you to do this test. There are many mechonim that can help you. I lost the word. That they're giving you opportunities.
Prepare yourself.
To prepare yourself to these days. Some of them are free. Some of them are they're going to cost money. But I can tell you by experience that most of the nominees that they're doing Yom HaMe'ah, although they're preparing, it's very hard to put on a show that represents somebody that is not truly yourself. You can do some kind of an act. It will be held in only short period. Most of all of the cognitive abilities, what you see is what you get, and you will do it the best way you can. If you prepare yourself in some kinds of tests that you will do in advance, you are dealing with this test and you're welling them only for the first time at Yom HaMe'ah. And if you can see them a few times before, you will have more knowledge of them, and you will be more prepared. If you finish Yom HaMe'ah and you will get your grades, and you will think that something about your grades is not good enough, and you can do yourself, you can להגיש ערעור, מאיה?
You can opt to request an.
You can ask another chance to do certain times, certain tests. For example, if you want to be in a technical position and you think that the grade that you got on your technical abilities was very poor and you want to do it again, you can ask for personal bakasha again, and most of the times you will get it. It's very important in you to say all of the exams that you are doing in the Tzav Rishon, in your interview, in the Yom HaMe'ah, you can do it in the language that you feel more confident in. You can do it in Hebrew, you can do it in English. If you speak Russian, you can do it in Russian, in Arabic, in which language that you choose. Yom HaMe'ah, it's have less types of abilities to do it in the dates. All of the group are English speakers, so it's not so confident. It's not so easy to set a date. Also very important about Yom HaMe'ah is the group discussion that will take part in this day. You will have some kinds of group example that you need to prepare yourself a short presentation that will speak through the group. You will be also be tested as be a leader of the group, and in each kind you can be one of the normal soldiers in the group. You will need to introduce yourself through this group discussion. I'm personally very into these kinds of tests, and I can assure you that it's very less frightening as it sounds. Next slide, please. I spoke about the results before. The grades are through 1 and 5 in which stage, and there are 12 stages of scores. What are the scores used to? I spoke with you before. All of the continuation gibushim and miyunim in the army will be managed for all of this personal data that the army assembles on each nominee. You can take their tested through the Tzav Rishon, the tests of the Yom HaMe'ah, your medical profile, and which every one of those can determine the continuation of the gibushim and miyunim. In Kita Yud-Bet, 12th grade, in some kind of between August and October, you will get the Manila. The Manila, it's a name of the tafkidim, of the jobs that every one of you will need to rank. So the army would like you to know according to the things that you are able to do and the things that you want to do. For example, if I want to be a combat soldier, Chayal Kravi, I need to say to the army. Although for this example, my profile is 97, all of the combat soldiers offices will be opened for me to rank, and I will be needed to tell the army in which rank I put it. There are many jobs: Chativat Golani, Givati, the Air Force, Agana Avirit, Pikud HaOref, the Navy, and so and so. It's very important that the army will know what are my preferences. For example, me and Kobe, like again, we have the same profile. Kobe asked to go to Kurs Chovlim. I asked to go to Chativat Golani. And Tzahal is trying, the IDF is trying to give us the best thing that I can do according to the things that I want. Of course, that they can't promise us anything about the things that we want to do, but it's very important that Meitav will get to know each one of you. What are your own personal preferences? Of course, there are many different kinds of positions in this questionnaire that are different between males and females. There are certain jobs that are open only to males and certain jobs that open only to female. But I can tell you that the army is very much developed in the last few years. Most of the jobs are open according to your abilities and personal cognitive abilities, and not through your gender. The position of the Manila is very important, and you will. It's very important that you will remember that this questionnaire is very personalized. Each of one of you can get a different manila, a different questionnaires, even though you think that your personal info is the same. You're not familiar with every one of your friends' personal info. For example, the rank that you will be given after the personal interview that the מאבחנת will give you in לשכת גיוס is still type of information that the army won't let you know. It's different than your DAPAR, it's different than the values of your MEA, it's different than your personal medical history. And the grade that you will be given after the interview influences a lot about the different jobs that you are open in the Manila. So just try to remember that the Manila is very personalized, and all of the jobs that are open for you to rank in the Manila is according to the state that you will in this moment. If you will try to give in more good grades than your MEA, if you try to get a higher or lower profile, you will get different types of jobs in the Manila, and it will reopen again after your personal info is being updated. It's very important to you that you can do the Manila in an open time frame that will be given to you. Most of the time, this time frame is 2 months. Then in this time, you can read about the jobs in Atar Mitgaisim, you can ask friends, you can do some personal research about the differences between the jobs, and you will have the options to rank each of any one of this job. Most of the time, after you will, okay.
If you can say a few words about the Hebrew score and which Hebrew score send you to Michveh Alon.
It's not only the Hebrew score, but I will speak about it. The Hebrew score that Kobe mentioned, it's is one of the tests that you were doing to every one of the soldiers in the Tzav Rishon, in the nominees in Tzav Rishon. It's different test according to the time that you are in Israel, but I can tell you that the score is the highest score, if I recall right, is 8, and the Olim Hadashim regularly, if they speak fluently in Hebrew or they can understand and write in a normal situation, like most of you or speak, have the grade between 5 or 6. And if you will get this grade, you will be sent to Michveh Alon to do a short Hebrew course at the beginning of your service. This course is not in every type influences the other stages of your army. So, for example, if you want to be a Kravi soldier and go to Chativat Givati, first of all, you are going to do a Hebrew course at Michveh Alon. I hope Gabriela is with us, right? Kobe?
Andrea join us now. And
sorry. Yes, Andrea will speak later on about Michveh Alon, but Michveh Alon is not in any type influences about the jobs that you will do only until it. The Michveh Alon gives you the chance to improve your Hebrew, your written Hebrew, your speaking Hebrew, and to start the army that you can in a better position to understand the commands of the officers, what you speak with your friends, and to have better options to pronounce yourself through all of your army. But it's very important that you remember that Michveh Alon is not instead of any other jobs. It just gives you a better starting position to start your army. I can tell you that in which one of the last courses of Michveh Alon, I'm going to speak with them and represent the Navy at Michveh Alon. It's very important to the Navy that the soldiers that are going to be in the battleships of the Navy, we also have the opportunities if they came like Olim Chadashim or Chayalim Bodedim, that they're only given Aliyah in short period before they're going to the army. And if you join the IDF short, as I can promise you that I will personally meet you face to face at Michveh Alon. We were speaking before about the Manila. The Manila is opened for a short period of 2 months through the 12th grade, and I told you before that it can be optionalized to reopen in case of that your personal info is updated through a medical history, or maybe that your personal info is also optionalized. All of these stages is ended in a period of time that is regularly through December or January of the year that you are recruiting. Most of you are recruiting in the months of between July and November, and the Manila is updated until December, 7 months fewer of this period. The reason that the Manila is have certain of time to put all your preferences, that the army could give you opportunity to do gibushim and miyunim and all of the tests, including Yom Sayarot if you want to be a combat soldier. And these tests take time. It takes time for the army to call you. If you're most of the elder of you do it at the age of 17 and a half, and the most young of you will do it later on. You need to remember that all of the miyunim they're doing in 2 seasons and main seasons. I'm not speaking right now about the intelligence miyunim, Modi'in. I'm speaking about the main seasons of miyunim in the army. The elder you will do the miyunim of Yom Sayarot at the month of January, if you want to be a combat soldier. The young of you will do it 10 months later on October. Again, it's also optionalized to males and females. And about that, the exams and tests of you on the miyunim of non-combat soldiers, it will be given in 2 seasons. The main season of the older ones is in the months of January, February, and March. Some of these tests are online tests that you will be giving by home. The army will send you a link. You will get there. You should do it by yourself. Some of the tests are very, very different than other tests. The tests that the army will do and test list of the Navy, of the Air Force are very different. And in most kinds of tests, you will have more than one stage, and the second and third stage, according to which one of the tests, is doing physically, manually, in one of the bases. I will give example about the Navy. We're doing our test physically at Bad Khel Hayam at Haifa. Only the second stage. The first stage we're doing by yourself online home, and the second stage and the third step are doing physically at Haifa.
Sorry, Edward, could you just explain what gibushim and miyunim are for people who don't know the terms?
Yes, I can tell the differences. The gibush is only for combat fields. It's only for combat soldiers. It's it's a group of tests that are given to the nominees in a few days. You're coming to do in a gibush. It can do 2 days, 3 days, and you have a test like Kurs Chovlim, that is very high-ranked course at the Navy. The gibush is 5 days. You're coming to the gibush, and you will be given a series of tests. Some of them are physically, some of them are mentally, some of them are meant to judge your determination, your physical abilities, how you handle with the group, and the differences between certain types of gibushim is the position. If you want to be a pilot, the test that you will be given is very different if you want to be a Navy SEAL, for comprehension of these two different fields, and so on and so on. The gibushim is more common for men. You have lots of gibushim also for women, for females, but most of the men come to the gibushim, to the combat fields. It's very common that these gibushim, these tests, are for types of fields that are highly ranked on the type of the Army needs. If the Army give, for example, the Navy the opportunity to test the nominees, it is pronounced that these certain types of jobs, the Navy can choose himself from a group of nominees, the one that he wants, according to his needs and according to the nominees' experiences in the gibush. There are many types of combat soldiers fields that are not acquired by gibush. Most of the Army is not required to do a gibush. For example, the Shiryon, Givati, Golani, Magav, and so on. Most of these types are not required by gibush. Yes, there are many different types of ranks of gibushim. Some of them are very hard. The ratio between the nominees that can pass this test and start the test is very different. The gibush for the Navy SEALs, I can tell you, statistically, only 10% of the nominees that pass the gibush. It's very hard. It will be choosing only the best of the best. Pilots and TIEs is very much of the same. And to do like gibush of tzanchanim, the ratio is much better, something like 40%, 45%. These gibushim are meant to choose the nominees that are much better and equipped to these types of fields. The Gibushim are very differences. I think that I spoke a lot about the Gibushim. If you have a further question, I will answer it later. The Miyunim are much more of the same tests like Gibushim, but most of them are single day, just one day, and they are not physically. They are not testing any type of physical abilities. They're testing your group abilities, your speaking abilities, your cognitive abilities, and so on. I will give you an explanation. There are jobs of army journalists. The Miyunim for army journalists, you can guess by yourself. They are doing a test that will give how good you can pronounce writtenly, if you have a very, very wide vocabulary in Hebrew, in English, this kind of test. Maya, if you can have in your mind another kinds of miyun that is not physically, it is a good example for you to help me.
I can give an example of there's in the Navy specifically, there's a very high desire for a job called a simulation guide, and that's a job that needs a miyun for, and you come in and you do certain tests, and it's a very difficult job, and it needs a lot of learning for it, but yeah.
That's a good example. The simulator guide is a job that you have in the Navy, in the Air Force. It's very highly ranked through 2-woman accuracy. That's a good example. The Miyunim, because okay.
I see a lot of question on the chat. Maybe because we don't have a lot of time, maybe it will be a good idea to start to answer for a few questions. Part of them you answered in the presentation, okay? But there is a few good questions there. And if you can try to answer, even of the full, if Maya can answer it on the chat as well.
Okay. Is there an option to complete the online questionnaires in English? Yes, I spoke about it. It's absolutely possible. You just need to ask them when you get the Tzav Rishon to do it in English. Do you receive the Tzav Rishon when you enter year 11, no matter what your age is? Yes, it matters what your age is. There are 2 main seasons that the nominees are placed into the Tzav Rishon. The elder ones of you are in the first period, in the first half year of 11th grade, and the most young of you is in the second part of 11th grade. Some of you will do the Tzav Rishon in the Chofesh Gadol between the 11th and 12th grade. There are different types of nominees. If you jumped class and you're much younger or much elder, the Tzav Rishon will be influences through it. How does the medical profile affect intelligence roles or training roles? You only spoke about combat roles. I will give you the guiding lines for the medical profile for guys. It's not to women. I only speak about men. Mainly, if you have a high medical profile, you will be a Kravi soldier. You will be a combat soldier according to the rank of your profile. If it's very difficult if you have 97, 82, or 72. But the guiding lines that if you have, if you are possible to do a combat soldier, you will do a combat soldier. There are very, very few positions that are saved to intelligence role, to nominees with combat medical profile. Most of the guys and the women in the intelligence will have a low profile. No matter how good they are and no matter of their motivation. The reason is because the army needs, it's called צרכי הצבא, the army needs, put the combat roles at the first position. How do we arrange to do psychoanalysis test, interviews, and so in English? I answered it before. I will continue. If a person is in grade 10 at the time of receiving Tzav Rishon, is it possible to delay the Tzav Rishon, Yom HaMe'ah, and personal interview? Yes, the question is yes. I guess it places a situation that some of you did one of the grades twice. In cases of Olim Chadashim, it's very common. You just need to give it that the army will know it, because your age is the main object that affects when you're going to recruit. And if you didn't finish the high school in this period, you just need to give the army the documentation from the school that you're in 10th grade, and you will delay it in 1 year. Can you do Yom HaMe'ah in English? Yes, you can do Yom HaMe'ah in English. What can the students do if their Hebrew isn't fluent? Give your best at Hebrew. No, you can do it in English, but I told you it is much less flexible on given the date, because you need to arrange a group that all of the group is English speakers. Can links be shared to sites where the Yom HaMe'ah tested can be done? I don't have these kinds of links, but I can give you the name of the Machon that shared some of these tests, and I can tell you that Meitav are giving examples because they want you to prepare to this test. When you're required to do Yom HaMe'ah, Meitav, your Lishkat Giyus, will give you free tested that you can do on your own free time that will help you prepare. If you want to pay it, you can ask in Google for Machon Noam, N-O-A-M. It's a very common Machon that is giving these kinds of tests. And I'm sure that you can find them maybe also in YouTube and any kinds of this test. You can also try to just look for Google for Yom HaMe'ah. You have lots of examples. נפצה לי פה השאלה, רגע. Can we get a copy of this presentation after the session, please?
I can answer that. The recording will be available on our website as of next week.
Where do we submit the information if my child is currently in grade 10? I answer it, the last question. How do we arrange a Yom HaMe'ah in English? You just need to ask your Lishkat Giyus to do Yom HaMe'ah in English, and they shall give it to you. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask now.
I want to say thank you, Ehud. Thank you so much that you joined us today. You have a lot of information. I think everyone learned something new today. And I want to say, everyone, if someone has any question, you can pass the question to me or to Daniela, and we try to do our best to answer to everyone. And again, Ehud, thank you so much. We so appreciate you. And I hope to see you in Michve Alon, and also to see you next week. Maybe we drink something together. Thank you so much, Ehud.
Thank you.
And also Maya, thank you very, very much, and good luck in your new position.
Kobe, if we have just 1 minute or two, I would like Maya to speak from her personal experience. Like, I will try not to embarrass her, but she is also an Ola Hadasha from New York, and she chose to join the army, and she is now an officer. She did a very, very important job as a soldier in a very particular job. And if you have a few minutes,
I can make it not too long. So I drafted straight into the Navy. I didn't do Michve Alon. I knew from a very young age that I was going to draft. Also, my parents were very supportive of me drafting. I came to Israel. I made Aliyah alone. My sister was in the army at the time, and then I did Mechina. After a year, I was in Mechina. I did my Tzav Rishon, Yom HaMe'ah. I did it at 12 at night because I did it in New York, and I did it through the whole night. That was something. But if I did it then, everyone can do it. Don't worry. And then I drafted to be a Bakashit. Basically, I was, I had to, it's very easy for me to say it in Hebrew now. I feel like I've switched. But I was in charge of seeing all the ships that would go out into the sea in Israel's southern border with Egypt and Jordan, because I was in Eilat. It was very difficult in the beginning, especially for the language. I didn't have the best Hebrew in the world. So it took me a while. I got, all my tests were done. I passed everything after not too long. And it was very important for me. And I was very aware to share that with my commanders, that it was very important to me to continue in the army and to do my best. And then after 8 months of me in that position, I went for officer's course. Officer's course was probably one of the best parts I had in the army. It was just really great people, really good commanders, and it was like a dream for me. And suddenly I was there. And then I got placed in this job that I'm in now, and I really, really like it so far. I get to be with people who are in 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, and then also people who want to do a technical degree. And it's very, very interesting, and I'm learning a lot. Every day is difficult, but I learn every day. And so far it's been pretty good.
she is very modest.
Maya, thank you so much. And again, thank you to join us today. And if someone wants to speak with Maya later and to ask a question, please let me know, and I will connect him to Maya. Again, Ehud and Maya, thank you so much. And I want to pass to Andrea. Andrea, can you hear me?
Yeah.
The stage is all yours to tell us about your experience from Michve Alon. And you also, like Maya, you can introduce yourself in a few words. And thank you again.
Okay. My name is Sandra Cortez. I am from Colombia. I arrived to Israel in 2019. So it took some time until I received like the call to do all the exams and the Tzav Rishon, all the things needed to get to the army, and also because it was the Zman of the Corona, as everything was different from the normal. When I arrived there, all all the exams that are about the intelligence, like your cognitive recognition and all that, I have the opportunity to do them in Spanish. That is my native language. But the Hebrew exam, I did it in Hebrew. And also I have some interviews when I spoke in the Hebrew that I have at the time that was not that much. And after that, I received the call to get to Mijbalón. It was a little bit weird to me because I didn't have the Yom HaMeah. And when I asked, they told me that when women get to Mijbalón, normally they get to do the Yom HaMeah after they did the Hebrew course, because they want to give us the most opportunities to get to the Yom HaMeah and know what to do and have like more opportunities to maybe get something higher from that. My score was a 6 when I get to Mijbalón, and there was 3 months. The first month and a half, it was Tironut, that is like the basic training. In that time of Tironut, we learn all the things about the weapon, culture, how the army works, how is like all the things that people normally know from a young age here in Israel. We learn everything there, slowly, really slow. And I can compare that because I did also the Tironut during the in the Navy. And in the Navy, the Tironut was just 2 weeks. And here I have a month and a half to learn all this stuff. After we did the Tironut, we got to the Hebrew course, that it was like 8 hours a day that we were sit in the classrooms to learn Hebrew. They divide us according to the Hebrew levels. When we arrived the first day, we get to groups just for the first 9, and after that, we do an exam that says from 1 to 9, what is our Hebrew level? I was at level 2. That was like really, really low, but not that low. And from that, we start to learn, and we have the option to say we want to go to a combat unit or not combat unit. If we choose to do a combat unit, as we have to wake up 1 hour before everybody to do extra training, and we have an opportunity to go to a Katzin Miyun. That is someone that the job in the army is to also give these jobs in the combat units. From that time, I didn't know that I have to ask to Meitav before to do all the kibushim and all the extra exams to get to specific units. For example, the Navy. So in my time, it was no open. Once you arrive to Mijbalón, but right now it is open. So it is possible to go to the Navy from Mijbalón. After you do all the Hebrew exams, you have again the exam to see if your Hebrew level went up. And after that, you do the Saf Rishon. All the people that got a score 6 and up, that's the people that go to the Saf Rishon in the first place. And we went everybody together to a place. We did whole days Yom HaMeah. I'm sorry. Yom HaMeah, we did in an office, all the girls together. We answered the questions, and all the women that didn't want like a combat service, they also have some interviews when they spoke about what they want, and also do all the Manila. The Manila were 2 different things. We have the Katzin Miyun to the jobs of the combat, and they have a Manila with different types of things. After that, but the last week, before the last day, we receive where are we going. Like they give us a letter that says where are we going, as we don't know until the end what is going to happen, if we did it or we're not. Once we receive where we're going, we like pack our things and go to vacuum. That is like the basis, the principal basis where you, the principal basis where you get to go to different parts of the army, and from there everybody went to their new jobs. There's some people that, because the times were different, and there's some people that went like directly from Mig Ballon to the new base to start the new jobs. I got to the army, to the Navy. When I spoke about the Tironut, from women in Mig Ballon, you do something called Tironut 02. That is like really basic, some use of the weapon and that. But the Navy, for the moment that I got, they have gotten to 03. So I have to do it again in the Navy. And the difference was hard at the beginning, because in Mig Ballon, something that I saw is they try to speak with a really low Hebrew, but they give us the opportunity to speak. And that's the important thing, because I knew Hebrew, but I didn't know how to speak, how to make people understand what I wanted to say. So I got to the Navy. It was hard at the beginning. I didn't understand most of the words. I asked to everybody to give me an example, to read me all the materials, because we have a lot of things to learn. And like that, slowly but surely, you start learning, you start understanding more and more and more, and get to a point when you don't think you're just speaking, you're doing stuff, you're understanding what they are saying to you, you're doing exams, and you don't realize how much you learn in that period. So yeah, it's a little difficult in the beginning, but the thing is not to not give up, to try, and even if you don't have all the words, make you understand, because I didn't know most of the words when I arrived, and right now I finished all my exams. I'm like in the last part of my service, and the same as everybody. Another question?
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Andrea. I see there's some questions in the group chat. So for instance, somebody wrote, the scores that were mentioned, are they only for men or also for women? Ehud?
If the one that wrote this question can accurate it, do you mean the scores of Yom HaMe'ah?
Let's see where it is.
Until he answered, Andrea, thank you so much. You join us.
Hi. Sorry, I think I asked that question. And what I meant was earlier you spoke about for men, what it means to, if you're a 97, you're likely going into combat, etc. You didn't speak to women as to if they want to do an intelligence or a training role, what sort of score they need.
Very, very important question. Thank you for saying it. If woman wants to be a combat soldiers in the IDF, it's possible. She can volunteer to have a little bit longer type of period she will do in the IDF, like men does. What really matters, the length of the service, is the position that you're going to be. If I'm going to be a combat soldier and I'm a woman and I volunteered to be I'm doing a 32 months period of service, exactly like men does. Women are not required to be a combat soldier if they are not volunteering to be in these types of fields. Like Andrea told us before, When she joined the Navy, although she was Ola Chadasha and she was a little bit older than regular recruits, she volunteered to do a combat field soldier, although she was not assigned to it at all. Of course, the first base of information that is required to do this type of fields is your medical profile, exactly like men. So if you're a woman and you want to be a combat soldier, you need to have all of the grades and a medical profile like men, and she's doing the gibushim and all of the other tests exactly like men. Okay?
Thank you, Ehud. I see another question. If you selected combat on your application and want to change to the Air Force, for example, is it possible to switch your preference?
If you have a medical profile that allows you to be a combat soldier, Air Force positions that are not combat position are not going to be optionalized at the Manila. If you're required to be a combat soldier, only combat soldier fields will be opened in the Manila, and the tafkidim that are pronounced like jobnikim or not combat fields are not going to be optionalized in the Manila. If your medical profile is going to change through this period, you should remember that some of you will handle all of the procedures like 1 year or 2 years from today. I saw places like nominees got into car crashes or some kinds of surgeries, and their medical profiles went up and down through all of these changes. If your medical profile is updated, the questionnaire, the Manila, is also going to be updated, and these types of fields is according to your medical positions. And yes, of course, you can update it. What happens if our son went to go to yeshiva before the army? This is a very good question. If there are different kinds of yeshivot in Israel, there are high yeshivot, and there is like yeshiva tichonit. I didn't thought that you will challenge my Hebrew, that's all. You need to assign to this yeshiva and give the army some kinds of issurim that you are assigned, that you are assigned to this yeshiva and you're going to be a student in this yeshiva. There are different kinds of time periods that are required to do if you're going to be a yeshiva students, and I can tell you that we have a very specific types of fields, combat fields for yeshiva graduates, particularly in the Daburim. It's in the base placed in Ashdod. But you can have these kinds of jobs, combat jobs, in all of the IDF. But you need to give.
What about the HESDER programs? Do you know? Is there something you can say about that?
Yes, HESDER programs is one of these programs. The one that I spoke about is the HESDER programs. HESDER, it's a 44 months program. You're able to do some of the program in the yeshiva, Later on, you will doing, if I record right, 18 months in combat fields in all of the positions in the army, and you have another short period in the yeshiva to complete 44 months of Hesder. What's most important in the Hesder program, that you're going to have Miluim services at the same unit all through your older life. In the Navy, the programs that were able to give the Hesder, most of them are only for the Sherut Chova and not for the Miluim.
For your required service and not your.
Yes.
Daniela, I think we need to finish. If
One last
someone has,
question. I see if someone has a degree before the army, can they use the degree in the army and have a job in that field?
It depends on the degree. If it's a science degree or just an BA, or it depends on which type of degree. The army needs high graduated and high class degrees. But it's very important to know that all of these types of programs are called Atudaim Batzava. They are required to do an officer's course. All of these types of fields, they need a period of Sherut Chova, 32 months as required, and later on, if I recall right, between 2 or 3 years more as a volunteer service program, according each one on their specialties. In sciences, in electricity, in mechanicals, different kinds of fields. But yes, it's very, very much required in all through the IDF.
thank you
Kobe,
very, very much.
you didn't prepare me for these types of questions.
I think it was a very, very important event and everyone learned something. If someone has any other question or he wants to speak with someone, the speakers, and he don't write it on the chat, you can call me or to text me or Daniela, and we will connect to Ehud, Maya, Andrea. And also, if someone has any question about specific unit, we can try to organize to connect you. But we don't promise. We try to do it, okay? To connect you with someone in the specific unit to get the specific information. Again, everyone, thank you so much. And Daniela, maybe you want to say also something before we finish.
No, I just want to say thank you to all of our speakers. Thank you to everyone who joined. And as Kobe mentioned, if you have more questions or want to be connected with any one of our speakers or someone in a specific unit, you can email myself, daniela@telfed.org.il, and I will refer to Kobe and see how we can connect you and do our best to see if we can connect you with someone. And that's it. Have a nice evening, and thank you.